Jefferson Nickels worth millions today. These rare US 5-cent coins are highly sought after by collectors and can sell for unbelievable prices in today's market. Sparkles. In this video, we'll cover Welcome to Numismatic Vault Extra. Today, we're exploring some of the most valuable top 4 Jefferson 5-cent nickels from United States of America, United States. In this video, we'll cover their current market values, highlight famous era coins, and explain the specific conditions that make certain Jefferson nickels extremely rare. This includes silver content, unique color shades, and special characteristics that have made these coins major players in the coin collector and investor world. These rare treasures are not just pieces of history. They are among the most valuable coins collectors are hunting today. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, backhand index pointing right, this video is for you. Let's get started with the first coin. Magnifying glass tilted left money bag. The story of the 1943 Jefferson nickel does not begin in a quiet minting room, but in the middle of a world on fire. America was fully consumed by World War II, factories roared day and night, families waited for letters from sons overseas, and even the smallest objects in daily life were reshaped by sacrifice. Coins were no exception. Metal was no longer just metal. It was ammunition, ships, and survival. In that tense moment, the humble 5-cent coin became a silent witness to history. Before 1943, Jefferson nickels were made mostly from copper and nickel, metals suddenly needed for armor and weapons. The U.S. government made a dramatic decision: change the very soul of the coin. That year, nickels were struck from a special wartime alloy that included silver, giving birth to what collectors now call the war nickel. This was not done to impress collectors, but to serve a nation at war. And yet, decades later, that decision would turn ordinary pocket change into objects of obsession. The 1943 S mint mark tells a deeper story. The S stands for San Francisco, a mint that worked relentlessly during the war years, producing coins under pressure and urgency. These coins were not meant to be perfect. They were meant to circulate, to pass from hand to hand in diners, factories, and train stations. Each one carries invisible fingerprints of wartime America, the hopes and fears of a generation pressed into metal. What makes this nickel special is not just the silver hidden inside it, but the mistakes, variations, and survival stories attached to it. Most were spent without a second thought. Some were scratched, worn, or lost forever. But a small number escaped heavy circulation. Even fewer were struck with unusual details, sharper features, or subtle differences that today make collectors stop breathing for a moment when they see them. Legends grew slowly. A coin dealer here, a collector there. Stories whispered at shows and auctions. People began to realize that certain 1943 Jefferson nickels were not just coins, but survivors. High-grade examples, untouched by years of commerce, became rare not because they were never made, but because they were never saved. Rarity born from neglect is often more powerful than rarity born from low production. Over time, myths took shape. Some said these nickels were secretly worth fortunes. Others believed silver content alone made them priceless. The truth is more nuanced and more fascinating. Value comes from condition, strike quality, historical importance, and demand. A worn war nickel is a piece of history. A perfectly preserved one is a time capsule. The difference between the two can be staggering. The idea that a single coin could change a life overnight is not fantasy, but it is also not common. Coins that sell for extraordinary prices do so because they are extraordinary in every sense. They are the best of the best, the kind that appear once in a generation. When such a coin surfaces, it sends shockwaves through the collecting world, reminding everyone that treasure sometimes hides in plain sight. Collectors are drawn to the 1943 Jefferson nickel because it represents transformation. It is proof that even something as small as a nickel can reflect global conflict, national sacrifice, and human resilience. Holding one feels like holding a fragment of a year when the world held its breath. That emotional weight cannot be measured in dollars alone. Many people today rush to spend old coins without looking twice. That is how history disappears. Coins like the 1943 war nickel teach patience. They reward curiosity. They whisper that not everything valuable shines loudly. Some value hides quietly, waiting for someone who knows how to listen. The silver inside this coin is real, but its true power lies in symbolism. It is silver born of necessity, not luxury. That alone gives it meaning. When collectors speak about it with reverence, they are not just talking about metal. They are honoring a moment when even currency joined the war effort. Stories circulate of people finding war nickels in jars, drawers, or inherited collections. Most are modest finds. A few are extraordinary. Those rare moments fuel dreams, and dreams fuel the hunt. This cycle keeps coin collecting alive, passing passion from one generation to the next. History shows us that the greatest fortunes in coins are not made by luck alone, but by knowledge. The people who recognize something special are the ones who studied, waited, and believed that small things matter. The 1943 Jefferson Nickel rewards that mindset more than impulsive hope ever could. To own one of these coins is to own a survivor of a world at war, a symbol of adaptation, and a reminder that even during chaos, systems endure. Money still moved. Life still continued. And in that movement, these nickels quietly did their job. If you ever hold a 1943 Jefferson nickel, do not rush. Do not dismiss it. Look at it closely. Feel its weight. Remember its time. Whether it is worth 5 cents or far more depends on its journey, but its historical value is already priceless. In the end, this coin does not promise instant riches. It promises something deeper. Connection. Connection to history, to struggle, to endurance. And sometimes, for those patient and fortunate enough, that connection is rewarded in ways that truly can change a life. Next coin. The year 1964 sits at a powerful crossroads in American history, a moment when the nation was standing between old silver traditions and a new age of modern coinage. In that single year, millions of Jefferson nickels rolled out of the Denver Mint carrying the small but important D mint mark, quietly entering pockets, cash registers, and wallets across the country. At first glance, the 1964 D Jefferson nickel looks ordinary, almost invisible, but behind that simple 5-cent coin lies a deeper story tied to fear, change, and the final echoes of America's precious metal coin era. This coin was born during a time of public panic. Americans were hoarding silver coins, worried that rising metal prices would make everyday money disappear. Although the Jefferson nickel was not made of silver, the pressure on the U.S. Mint was enormous. The government rushed production, striking nickels at record levels just to keep change flowing through the economy. That urgency gives the 1964 D nickel its historical heartbeat, not rarity, but survival during chaos. Collectors today often hear rumors whispered online, dramatic claims that this coin hides secret silver or can make someone a billionaire overnight. These stories spread fast because people want magic in their spare change. But the real power of the 1964 D Jefferson nickel is not fantasy wealth. It is truth, context, and history. This coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy, the same formula used before and after, and no standard 1964 D nickels were struck in silver. Yet value does not always come from metal alone. Coins are time capsules. When you hold a 1964 D Jefferson nickel, you are holding a piece of the last year before America permanently removed silver from its dimes and quarters. It represents the final breath of an old monetary system, the calm before the storm that changed U.S. coinage forever. The Denver Mint worked relentlessly that year, producing hundreds of millions of nickels. Machines thundered day and night, striking coins so fast that quality sometimes suffered. Because of this rushed production, collectors today search for high-grade examples. Coins with sharp steps on Monticello, strong details, and untouched surfaces. These are rare in condition, not in existence. Some exceptional 1964 D nickels, preserved perfectly and graded at the highest levels, can sell for impressive prices. Not millions, not billions, but enough to show that condition transforms ordinary metal into something special. In the coin world, perfection is power, and survival without wear is the real treasure. The Jefferson nickel design itself carries dignity. Thomas Jefferson's portrait reflects intellect and revolution, while Monticello stands as a symbol of American independence and architectural brilliance. This design connected everyday Americans to their founding ideals every time they made a purchase, and the 1964 D issue continued that silent education. Unlike wartime nickels from 1942 to 1945, which clearly contain silver and display a large mint mark above Monticello, the 1964 D nickel does not hide secret compositions or experimental metals. Any claim suggesting otherwise confuses history with hope. Serious collectors respect facts, because truth builds lasting value. Still, There is something poetic about a coin struck during uncertainty. In 1964, America mourned a fallen president, faced social upheaval, and stood on the edge of massive change. The nickel from that year circulated through all of it, passed hand to hand while history unfolded in real time. Many people overlook coins like this because they expect instant riches. But experienced collectors know that understanding context is more powerful than chasing myths. A well-preserved 1964 Jefferson Nickel is valuable because it represents the end of an era, not because it breaks the laws of economics. If you find one today, don't rush to spend it, but don't expect miracles either. Examine it, protect it, and learn from it. Coins reward patience, knowledge, and honesty. The real fortune they offer is education, the kind that turns curiosity into wisdom. The story of this nickel reminds us that not every treasure glitters with silver or gold. Some treasures shine through history, survival, and truth. That is why collectors keep searching rolls, not for fantasy, but for connection to the past. So when someone tells you a 1964 Jefferson nickel will make you a billionaire overnight, remember this: real power comes from knowing what you hold, not believing everything you hear. Coins don't change fortunes overnight, but knowledge can change your future forever. And in that way, the 1964 Jefferson nickel still holds value far beyond 5 cents. Next coin. The story of the 1969 Jefferson nickel begins quietly, almost invisibly, in the pockets of everyday Americans. In a time when the United States was standing between old traditions and a fast-changing modern world, this small 5-cent coin carried more than its face value. It carried the weight of an era shaped by Cold War tension, space exploration dreams, and economic transformation. While millions of people spent it without a second glance, history was already pressing itself into its metal. Jefferson Nickels had been part of American life since 1938, created to honor Thomas Jefferson, a man who believed deeply in freedom, knowledge, and the future of a young nation. By 1969, the design was familiar, trusted, and often ignored. That familiarity is exactly what makes coins like the 1969 D so fascinating today. What people overlook is often what history hides its secrets inside. The Denver Mint struck the 1969 D nickel in massive numbers, during a time when the U.S. Mint was focused on speed and volume rather than perfection. America needed coins for commerce, not collectibles. Machines ran day and night, and human eyes could not catch every tiny mistake. This environment is where rare errors are born, not through intention, but through pressure, haste, and imperfect systems. Despite popular myths, the 1969 Jefferson nickel is not made of silver. By this time, the United States had already removed silver from nickels decades earlier. The coin is composed of a copper-nickel alloy, strong and durable, designed to survive circulation rather than impress collectors. Yet even common metals can become priceless when history, rarity, and human desire collide. What truly gives a coin the power to change a life overnight is not its metal, but its difference. A tiny error in lettering, a doubled image, an off-center strike, or a planchet mistake can transform an ordinary coin into a treasure. Collectors do not chase coins because they are shiny. They chase them because they are wrong in the right way. Over time, stories began to circulate. People claimed they had heard of nickels selling for shocking amounts. Some swore that secret batches existed. Others believed the government hid special coins among regular ones. These stories grow because coins feel magical. They are small, touchable pieces of history, and the idea that one could be hiding in a drawer makes people hope. The truth is more powerful than the myth. A genuine error coin is rare not because someone says so, but because only a few escaped quality control. A 1969 Jefferson nickel with a confirmed mint error, preserved in exceptional condition, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That may not make someone a billionaire, but it can absolutely change how they see the coins they hold every day. Coins like this also represent the psychology of collecting. People are not just buying metal, they are buying connection. Holding a coin minted in 1969 means holding something that existed during moon landings, civil rights movements, and cultural revolutions. That emotional weight adds value beyond numbers. Another reason these coins attract attention is survival. Most nickels from 1969 were heavily used, scratched, worn, and eventually lost. High-grade examples that look almost untouched are far scarcer than people realize. Time is the greatest destroyer of coins, and survival itself becomes a form of rarity. The Jefferson portrait on the coin reminds us that America was built on ideas, not just wealth. Jefferson believed knowledge should be accessible, and coins reflect that philosophy. They pass through every hand, rich or poor, carrying history equally. When a simple nickel becomes collectible, it proves that value can come from the most ordinary places. Many people make the mistake of spending old coins without looking closely. That habit has erased countless rare pieces from history. The real lesson of the 1969 D. Jefferson nickel is not to believe every viral claim, but to respect the hidden stories inside everyday objects. If you believe you have a special coin, the smartest move is patience. Never clean it. Never rush to sell it. Authentication and expert evaluation are what separate real treasure from internet myths. True collectors value facts more than fantasy. The American coin market rewards knowledge, not luck alone. Coins that sell for life-changing amounts usually combine rarity, condition, documented history, and verified errors. When those elements align, even a 5-cent coin can command astonishing respect. The legend of the 1969 D. Jefferson nickel reminds us why people love coins. They are small time machines, survivors of economic shifts, silent witnesses to history. Whether worth 5 cents or $5,000, their real power is how they make people look closer. In the end, the greatest fortune a coin can change overnight is not always money. Sometimes it changes curiosity into passion, ignorance into knowledge, and a simple pocket habit into a lifelong respect for history. And that is a kind of wealth no market can ever devalue. Next coin. The story of the 1962 D. Jefferson nickel does not begin with noise or fame, but with quiet power, struck into metal during a time when America was standing between old traditions and a rapidly changing future. This coin was born in Denver, a mint that carried the weight of the nation's Western strength, producing money that would travel through countless hands, pockets, and generations. At first glance, it looks ordinary, almost invisible among modern coins, yet history often hides its greatest secrets in plain sight. In 1962, the United States was a nation full of tension and hope. The Cold War pressed heavily on every decision, technology was accelerating, and the American economy was expanding into new territory. Coins minted during this era were not just tools for trade, they were silent witnesses to history. The Jefferson nickel of this year reflects that moment, a solid copper-nickel composition created before modern shortcuts changed how coins were made. Unlike wartime nickels that contained silver, the 1962 D nickel was struck with durability in mind. Its strength symbolized stability, and its design honored Thomas Jefferson, a man whose ideas shaped freedom itself. Every line on Jefferson's face, every letter in Liberty, was pressed into the metal with precision that modern collectors deeply respect. When coins are well struck, they carry a sharpness that time cannot easily erase. Most people spent these nickels without a second thought. They bought coffee, newspapers, bus tickets, and candy for children. Yet hidden among millions were rare survivors, coins that escaped heavy wear, coins that never suffered scratches, coins that retained their original mint luster. These untouched examples are where the real story begins, because rarity is not always about low mintage, but about survival. Collectors know that condition is power. A 1962 D. Jefferson nickel in average condition is common, but one preserved in near-perfect or flawless condition becomes something entirely different. It becomes a time capsule. It becomes a physical memory of 1962 that looks as if it were struck yesterday. These coins are hunted, studied, graded, and protected because perfection in old money is extremely rare. The Denver Mint was known for strong strikes during this period, and some 1962 D nickels show exceptional detail in Jefferson's hair and Monticello steps. Coins with fully defined steps on Monticello are especially admired, because they reveal how carefully the coin was made. When these details survive untouched, collectors take notice, and value begins to rise steadily, sometimes dramatically. What gives this coin its mystique is not fantasy, but human psychology. People are drawn to objects that survive time. A nickel that has passed through decades untouched feels almost impossible, and that feeling creates desire. Desire fuels demand, and demand fuels value. This is how ordinary coins slowly transform into prized collectibles. Stories circulate of people discovering high-grade nickels in old rolls, estate collections, or forgotten drawers. While not every discovery is life-changing, some finds genuinely surprise their owners. Certified, top-grade examples can sell for impressive sums, not because of hype, but because serious collectors compete fiercely for the best of the best. The 1962 D. Jefferson Nickel also represents a turning point before massive industrial coin production reduced individual character. Coins from this era still feel personal, heavy, and intentional. When you hold one, you are holding metal shaped by real hands, real machines, and real history, not mass-produced digital currency. This coin reminds us that value is not always loud. It grows quietly over time, fueled by scarcity, preservation, and story. Many great collections were built slowly, one overlooked coin at a time. Wealth in numismatics is rarely instant, but patience has rewarded those who understood what they were holding. Collectors who truly understand coins do not rush to sell. They study, protect, and wait. They know markets rise and fall, but history only grows deeper. A well-preserved Jefferson nickel from 1962 becomes more than money. It becomes an artifact. It is important to respect truth. Not every 1962 D nickel is rare, and not every one is valuable. But within the millions exist a tiny number that stand apart, and those coins command respect and strong prices. Knowledge is what separates disappointment from discovery. The power of this coin lies in awareness. Once you learn how to see condition, strike quality, and originality, the world of coins changes forever. You stop seeing pocket change and start seeing potential history. This nickel teaches a larger lesson about life itself. Great value often hides in ordinary places. It waits for those who slow down, observe carefully, and understand what others overlook. So if you ever come across a 1962 D. Jefferson nickel, do not dismiss it too quickly. Look closely. Feel its weight. Study its surfaces. Because while it may not promise overnight fortune, it carries something just as powerful, a direct connection to America's past, preserved in metal, waiting to be understood.